Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Grow Along. I have had a lot of questions about starting a garden, specifically with kids, so I thought I would start a series that could be recorded and you can refer back to at a later time. Episode 1, this is, I have notes, so I'm going to sometimes look away from the camera there, but this episode is going to talk all about the preparation before you even begin. So I know that sometimes people struggle with getting seeds to grow, especially indoors. There are some things that will make your success a little bit higher, which would be, of course, if you have kids with you, even more rewarding for them. And kids, if you're watching, you definitely can do this. There are a couple parts that I might have your grown-up help you with, but for the most part, you guys can be responsible for these seeds all on your own. So for prep work, there's 3 things that we need to consider. 1, you need to decide what you want to grow. 2, you need some supplies. And then 3, I have some excuse me, alternatives to consider for those supplies. Okay, so what do you want to grow? So the first thing is most things outside are going to be vegetables. So for some of you kids, maybe you don't have a favorite vegetable yet. Maybe you want to pick out a vegetable that you think looks cool or has a different shape to it, or maybe has a fun name, or just something that you're going to try. So that's the kind of number 1 on how to pick what you want. Number 2, you're going to want to pick something that's maybe not the hardest thing to grow. Some vegetables are a little bit more difficult than others. Some things that I typically have had really great success with, lettuces, any type of salad mix. I know radishes, I personally have not grown them, but we can try that if that's something that somebody wants to grow. Radishes are typically pretty easy to grow. And actually some types of tomatoes are pretty easy to grow, especially like those little cherry ones, and then also the Roma tomatoes. Bigger tomatoes can get a little bit more difficult, but we will grow them. We can do it. It's not, we can make sure that we teach everybody how to do it. So make sure that we know that we're growing things that we think we're going to want to try to eat, things that are not super difficult, and then we need to know how big they're going to be when they actually go out to the garden. So an example would be like a big beefsteak. It's a type of tomato. Those require a lot of space. So if you're growing in a smaller garden, that might not be the best choice for you. But you could grow a Roma tomato because those grow like, they grow, but they don't keep growing and growing and growing. And we can talk about the difference in tomatoes at a different time. But like a Roma tomato, grows to a certain size called determinate and stops, and then like a big one of those big slicer tomatoes, those are called indeterminate, so they keep growing and growing and growing. So you're going to need to choose that. So all right, so once you've decided what you're going to grow, you need a place to grow them. So there's a couple of, well, there's more than a couple. There's some different types of trays that you can purchase from stores like the Home Depot. And they sell one that's like a 70, it's called a plug tray. It's got 72 spots. I don't recommend those for a couple of reasons. Number 1, I don't think you're going to need to grow 72 different types of vegetables or 72 plants in total. That's a lot for especially just starting out. And then secondarily, secondly, they're hard to get out. So those little plugs are about that wide, about that deep, and it makes it hard to get the plant out, and you have a higher chance of damaging the roots. What I like are the trays that are about this size. I think it's an 18 cell tray. The square is about probably 2 by 2, and they also sell that at Home Depot. I will put down in the bottom, I will try to link some different options, but I think these are really good because you can start little seedlings in here. They can stay in here for quite some time, and it's a much more manageable number. 18 versus 72, clearly much more manageable. And then you're also going to want to have some type of mix to start your seeds in. So typically people just assume it's dirt. Well, not necessarily the case. If you have the budget for it, I highly recommend buying seed starting mix. It's lighter, it's fluffier, it's easier for the little baby seedlings to emerge, and you'll have a higher germination, which is the fancy word for when the seed sprouts, success rate than in other types. However, if you don't have the budget for it and you just have regular potting soil from potting up a flower, then you can certainly use that too. You're just going to want to make sure that and we'll do that a little bit as well. You're going to want to fluff up that mix. So seed starting mix, flour mix, and if you just have regular garden soil, again, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get germination, but you can do it. All right, then you actually need the seeds themselves. So once you've decided what kind of vegetables you want to try or that you enjoy eating, and you've kind of thought about where they're going to go outside and the space you need, then you're also going to need to get the seeds, and we'll get to those as well. But for now, just know that you're going to also need the seeds as part of your supplies needed, and then a grow light. If your budget allows, I will also show a grow light that I've had really great success with. I think it's like $30 for the light, and for one tray pack of these, that's all you would need. If a light is not in your budget, you can certainly do your best with like lamps, table lamps nearby, or in a south-facing sunny window. So those are some alternatives as well. So that is it for episode 1, prep, and upcoming in episode 2 will be prep for seed sowing. All right, thanks for joining our grow along. I'm excited.